Pronto, Vincenza.
Pronto, Randy, and welcome everyone to our Pronto podcast, Conversations of Life. This is the podcast where we talk about all the beautiful things life has to offer, whether it's beauty, inspiration, current events. We love to talk about it all, but more importantly, we love to feature influential individuals throughout the community. I think that's the best part about what we're doing here.
Yeah. We've made a lot of friends.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. We're always making friends, and this is our 43rd episode, which is so cool that we continue to do what we're doing here at Pronto. But more importantly, Randy, it's really cool to be a part of this journey with you.
Yeah, me too. Like I love what we do.
Right. It's special for us, but we're always learning, and that's something that's also unique about what we're doing here. We're featuring many influential leaders throughout the community, whether it's locally or nationwide or even internationally, right? So around the world, that's what we're doing here at Pronto.
I just purchased a new book by Noah Mills, Heights Decided.
Very nice.
Excellent. Yeah, she's amazing.
So for those of you who don't know, Noah Mills is a former Miss Delaware USA, and she was on our podcast. We had the opportunity to interview her, and she's an author, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and she's just a beautiful person. Beautiful person. You're right. Yeah. Inside and out.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Oh, she'll be so thrilled that
I text her. I really enjoyed the book. It's really, incisive.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, she's a beautiful person inside and out. So, Randy, how have you been? How was your weekend?
I had a really busy weekend. We had two events. Okay. One, Cheers to Love at DuPont.
Yes, tell me about it. How was it?
It was fabulous. I was not there. Corey, our operational manager.
Oh, look at these great photos.
Yeah. It was a beautiful setup, and we had a lot of interest, and the hotel is such a fabulous place to have a wedding, right?
Oh, absolutely. Beautiful. So for those of you who don't know, we film our Pronto podcast at the Curry Hair, Skin and Nails location in the DuPont building, which is right in the same location as the iconic Hotel DuPont. And it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, there's so much history in the building, but the iconic Hotel DuPont, I added the word iconic. It's called Hotel DuPont, but it is definitely legendary. It's a beautiful space. They have multiple rooms for different events that if you wanted to host, but their grand ballroom is absolutely beautiful. And it was nice that they held the event Cheers to Love here, and they've been doing it for a few years now.
Yeah, this is our second year.
Second year involved.
Yep.
Excellent. So it was a success.
Yeah, really
but you were
successful.
very busy that day. So what else was happening that day?
Well, we had a wellness event at the salon, and I was lucky enough to get an award.
Congratulations! What's the award? What was the award?
Just partnering up with the people who ran the charity event, and they're a really nice group of people, and cure for style, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, it seems like it was a really great event and a success. And you were very busy that day, hosting two different events. But I'm excited that it went very well. And that's what's important. I mean, we're busy. This is the time of the year to stay busy. Yeah. Speaking of busy, you know me, I'm always busy. So I announced this last time we hosted, but I have to make mention again, and I will probably be talking about it a lot the next few months. The new date for the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA pageant will be held Sunday, June 29th. This is for the 2025 pageant. We are still accepting applications. Visit missdeusa.com for more information. Share this information with everyone in the community. We are looking for the next Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA. And again, Curry Hair, Skin and Nails has been a big supporter of the organization, the title holders. We just recently had our official photo shoot for the program book, which is basically like the magazine, the official magazine of the Miss Delaware USA, Miss Delaware Teen USA. Here's some behind the scenes. As you can see, Alyssa Bainbridge, Miss Delaware USA, and Kayla Kozmolski, Miss Delaware Teen USA. And a shout out to Curry Hair, Skin and Nails team. We appreciate all of the hair services. As you can see, their luscious locks were looking phenomenal. So thank you for, providing a beautiful team of professionals. Really. Thank you, Randy.
Yeah, I can't say enough. These girls are, spectacular, not only beautiful, but beautiful inside. Yes. And they do a lot. Like they're behind charity events and, writing books and changing laws. And, it's just amazing to see. We're really glad to be a part of it. This is our fourth sponsorship year.
Yes, it is, which very grateful for that, Randy. So thank you so much.
But where's time go?
Oh, yes. We're having fun, right? But I truly believe that the sponsors are the backbone of the organization. So thank you to all the sponsors and all the individuals that continue to support the Miss Delaware USA, Miss Delaware Teen USA organization. And we're always looking for new sponsors to join the team. It takes a village, everyone. It truly does. And you're helping individuals like Alyssa and Kayla and Noah and so many incredible women follow their dreams. But keep in mind, what we're doing at the Miss Delaware USA, Miss Delaware Teen USA organization is empowering women. Right. And as the executive state director, I have the ability to do that on a much larger scale. And it's truly an honor. It really is. And I'm so thankful for this position and this leadership role. And I'm pouring back into an organization that poured into me for so many years.
Yeah. And I think everyone knows a young woman that's talented, beautiful,
accomplished. Yes, that has big goals and big dreams. This is definitely a space for the big dreamers.
Yeah. People are uncomfortable, but push them in.
Right. So MissDEUSA.com. Visit the site, check it out. There's some great photos of all the formers there, but also follow Miss DE USA and Miss DE Teen USA on social media. You can check out to see what Alyssa and Kayla are doing in the community, and they're doing some pretty awesome things, really. Yeah. Also, I have to make mention, Randy, you have to come visit me at the restaurant.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, I've been seeing so many wonderful advertisements for V&M.
Yes.
And, I have, been there, but like, I didn't go often enough. I should go every week because I love Italian food. And I was thinking, like, what's the favorite dish? Like, what dish do you sell?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I feel that, well, let me just tell you numbers, right? The number one dish is the chicken parm. Really? And it really is a phenomenal dish. We take great pride in the way we prepare all of our dishes. We use the freshest and the finest quality ingredients. We make all of our pastas and breads fresh in house. Our fresh mozzarella is made in house by hand. So we take a lot of pride in all of the items that we offer, even the cocktails, even the specialty cocktails. They're handcrafted by my sister and I, mainly my sister. I have the difficult job of tasting it.
And they're beautiful.
Thank you. We take pride in that. Presentation is everything. And we take great pride in everything that we do there. But I will highlight one of our signature dishes that you can't get anywhere around. It's called the timbalo. Do you enjoy eating lasagna?
Yes.
Okay, so if you like lasagna, then you will love our timbalo. It's a lasagna style pie. It's out of this world. Wow. It's mixed with meats and cheeses and pasta wrapped together, and it's almost like a dome shape lasagna style pie, and it's paired with our Sunday sauce and a cream sauce. It is chef's kiss. Really, it is.
Since I've been 6 years old, my number one Italian dish is gnocchis.
We have that too. We make our house-made gnocchis, which have been award-winning. We've been recognized for making very good gnocchis, which we're very proud of. You have to try the gnocchi bolognese. Oh, you will love that dish.
There's two different styles of gnocchis, right? Like there's hard gnocchis and then soft.
I feel there are different variations of gnocchis now that exist because, many chefs and I would say anybody in the restaurant space and hospitality restaurant space have ventured in testing different innovative ways of preparing gnocchi. And that's the beauty of that. You can infuse it with a flavor. You can make it with ricotta. You can make it with potato. You can make it with both. You could try so many different variations, and that's the beauty of it. At the end of the day, you have to do what's best. We keep things traditional. I will not give away the secret. Many people ask, how do you make your gnocchis? And I can't give away all of my secrets, but we do take great pride in making the pastas and breads, and all of the dishes that we have on our menu are inspired from the hometown my family is from, Mola di Bari, but in the region of Puglia. So if you're looking at Italy and it's shaped as a boot, we're the heel, right on the Adriatic Sea. That's the region of Puglia. So a lot of the dishes are inspired from the region of Puglia, but also from my hometown in Italy. And we've taken a lot of those dishes and we've tweaked them a little bit for the modern palate, but we stick to the tradition, and we appreciate that. But this is like coming over the house and enjoying an Italian meal.
I'll never forget the experience of fried spaghetti. Like I'll never forget
spaghetti
that.
Alla Cecina. Okay, share with everyone about your experience.
Well, it was like unusual to hear about it, but when I tried it, it was the best dish. Like I could eat it like a couple of times a week.
Okay, so just real quick, we had the celebrity chef Celso Laforgia, who, if you've heard of the Stanley Tucci show, Searching for Italy, he was featured on that show. He's from the same region, the same town my family is from in Italy, and he was featured on that show showcasing this unique dish called spaghetti alla cecina, where they take raw pasta and drop it in a frying pan and cook it. Yes, raw pasta. There's no boiling water. Right. It sounds different. It's an unconventional way of cooking pasta. But being on the show and showcasing this dish, it became instantly famous, and all of Italy is like raving about it, especially in the region of Puglia. And we had the honor of interviewing Chef Celso Laforgia on Pronto, but also we had the honor of having him visit us here in Delaware, which was really cool. We featured him at V&M Bistro. We had a celebrity guest chef experience there, and he did a live demonstration.
His whole team.
Yes, the whole team flew in, the whole team, and they took over the kitchen at V&M Bistro, which was truly a remarkable event. And it was really neat to see the dish be prepared right in front of you and how long it takes. It takes like 20 minutes to prepare this dish. So it was truly fascinating, but it was such a great experience. And I'm so glad that you were able to be there to witness it unfold. It was history.
I'll never forget it. And in fact, I keep in contact with the chef and, through Instagram, but he was, lovely guy, and he's planning to open a restaurant in New York.
That's the goal. That's the goal. We hope so.
So
and hopefully the second location in Delaware, right?
That would be great.
That's what we were talking about. First location in New York, second location in Wilmington, Delaware, which would be so neat and so great. But again, this just goes to show how many amazing, incredible individuals we have the opportunity to meet and interview on Pronto. But speaking of amazing individuals, it is time to introduce our two guests today. Talon Holleman is the heart and visionary behind Roots Farm and Forest School, a 2.7-acre homestead in Sussex County, Delaware, dedicated to reconnecting families with nature through experiential, hands-on learning. And Talon is a certified nature-based educator with 3 levels of credentials from the Forest School Teacher Institute, and is committed to continuous education to bridge the gap in community resources. Travis Holleman is a dedicated educator and co-leader of Roots Farm and Forest School, where he combines his passion for nature with expertise as a master gardener, naturalist, and forest school educator. Travis holds 3 levels of credentials from the Forest School Teacher Institute, bringing a wealth of knowledge in environmental education and sustainable gardening and outdoor leadership to Roots. Please welcome Talon and Travis. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for joining us. And we really appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule to be with us. So I have to get right into it. because I know that I didn't mention it and I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to really emphasize it. What is roots? And what does it
That's a
mean?
loaded question.
Yeah, so roots is, it's an acronym for us. It's reaching outside of traditional schooling. And so we started off homeschooling our own children, and through our journey of life, kind of coming to where, an organization that we wanted to not only share our vision of like how people, children can learn and engage with nature, but also we can work with the community and give children an opportunity to learn with nature as well.
Excellent. Yeah. Please share with us.
No, you're fine. I was going to say, it's just something that we searched for a while when we first had our own children, and we just couldn't find it. So that's where we just created it. And then once we created it from a very, very, we thought would be like 10 students scale, massively grew to over 1,000 in less than 4 years.
Wow. That's incredible. So clearly there's a need. There's a need for it. And families, because this is a family-friendly resource that's offered in the community. And clearly there's a need for it, which, I mean, the fact that you've had such an increase in numbers in such a short period of time, I think that's amazing.
Yeah. What I like about it is life skills, like teaching young children to cook, or, about nature. Like I would sign up, myself when I was young, because like I hated school, but I loved the forest and, going out with my father in the forest. So I think, bravo.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's one of the things we realized in our life journey, is that we both had corporate careers, and we kind of were following a journey that we were put into, and just kind of like, for me, I fell into banking, and so I spent 10 years working in a bank in the financial industry, and it was just something that I got into out of high school. And it took 10 years to kind of get to the point where I realized that this dream, this vision didn't necessarily, fulfill me or make me feel like I was living the life that I wanted. And so, when kids kind of make you rethink everything, especially when you have your own, you think very quickly, why am I doing these things that I'm doing? And so through the journey of kind of like figuring out, okay, what do we want for our children? How do we want them to learn? What do we want them to be when they do get older? That actually forces us to step back and think about ourselves. And I think that's one of the things, you all talked about in the podcast, is self-care. And it's really hard to, be a great parent or a great friend, or even work within the community unless, you're kind of feeling fulfilled first. And so that's where Talon and I kind of step back and realize the more that we're outside in nature, whether we're trying to grow our own food or working with the animals, hiking, even just sitting outside with a journal and just taking some time, that kind of put us a little bit more centered.
Yes, and you're so right about it. That self-care element that you offer and teach, you encourage that, starting with the younger generation. And remember, the younger generation are our future leaders. Right. So we need to take good care of them, right? And you're offering such an incredible resource in the community that I could see this expanding throughout the state, which leads me to another question. Do you see yourself opening multiple locations or sticking to just the one?
No, we definitely need it throughout the state at minimum.
Good.
So hands down, there's the request, the demand from the community. A huge driving factor of starting the actual school has been the fact that Delaware is ranked 45th in education across the nation.
Yeah, no, that's not a good number.
We were trying, I know it's a terrible number. And we're like 37th of child well-being.
Wow.
So bring in nature, bring in our mission of empowering children to care for themselves, their community, and their environment. That's like a wholesome human being you're raising there.
Wow.
So what are the benefits of nature-based education?
Yeah, I think our mentor really said it well when they said that nature really gives the initial context or the foundation for learning. And just really thinks, we really think that like, through nature, there's a lot of different life stages we can teach through, but it also teaches adaptability, flexibility, right? Because it's ever changing. Things that we see today aren't going to be there tomorrow. So, but it even opens a level of exploration through nature that as people can get out there, and as long as when we learn to play and observe and really explore safely, we can basically learn so many stages of life through things like just playing in leaves and working with others, but really emphasizes not just learning, but really the empathy that comes into being a part of a community and something greater than ourselves as well.
A lot of responsibility and just resilience and confidence, very much like compassion, flexibility, and then of course the self-care aspect and the huge amount of joy that comes with this. And really you can see in these photos that these children are authentically engaged. So they're not sitting at a desk listening to a lecture and possibly be listening to their brains in imagination land and not even paying attention to the lecture, versus here they're totally engaged, they're absolutely learning and having fun.
Yes.
And that's the overall goal as well, because we want engagement. And so how else do we get anybody engaged? We get them to really care and understand what we're working with. And so unless they feel connection, they're not even going to show up ready to learn. But the beautiful thing as well is we don't necessarily direct that, hey, this is what the problem is, here's the solution. We like to really kind of guide the children through the conversation of asking a series of questions. Well, what do you think could be a solution to this? What could we do differently?
That's Socratic dialogue.
Yeah.
If anyone's familiar.
Yeah, because we want to build that skill that we want them to be creative. We want them to be adaptive. We want to solve problems. And so not necessarily seeing a teacher or a parent as being the arbiter or the gatekeeper of the information, but we want them to be able to think for themselves.
Wow.
And so the more we do that now when they're young, the better it is, when they grow up and enter the world.
What ages are you working with?
So we work with varying ages, but most of our kiddos are 2 to 12. We have done adults and teens as well.
Wow.
Excellent. Excellent. You know what I'm noticing right now, and I'm able to recognize from just all the pictures that you're showcasing, I don't see any cell phones. And I love it. And I love every part of that, because I do feel that, cell phones, while they're great to stay connected with family and friends, they're also a bad distraction from learning, from interacting and communicating with one another and meeting people. And I love what you're doing. I think it is necessary. And I'm already like, they need to open up a location all around, like more locations, especially throughout the state of Delaware. And I love that you're pouring into the state, because the state needs that love. I'm an advocate for the state of Delaware. So I'm all about small businesses thriving here, restaurants opening, people pouring back into the state. Don't move away. Stay here.
The goal is to stay here and to bring roots, at least one satellite office in each county.
Vincenza is looking for future chefs, I think.
Oh, yes, I could see that happening. They're learning skills without a distraction of a device.
Yeah,
and that to me is so impactful for these young kids, because this is how you learn, hands-on. And not only hands-on, but also making friends, interaction. I mean, this is a great space.
Community.
It's a sense of community. It's a great space for young children and young adults to make friends.
Yeah. Well, and that's the key too, is we give them a lot of autonomy and control over certain things. And so when they have free time, there might be options available to them. And so they can either go play in the mud kitchen, they can play on the playground. And there's just varying options for them. And so that really is cool, because it gives them the option to not only flow through the day to some degree that they want, but they can really work with each other. And so that way they get the problem solving, but let's get the communication and really kind of, how do we effectively work with each other? But with the animals that we have here, because we have the farm as well, we have about 100 animals. They get to learn, again, a lot of empathy and community through taking care of the animals. And it's really easy for the kids to want to be a part of the chickens or the sheep and really care for them. And so it's really easy to, again, to kind of build that community lesson in just taking care of the animals, and they love it. And it's, again, it's not an experience they typically get sitting at a desk at a normal school. So.
And it's a great way to have other alternative ways of learning. So of course, everyone learns differently.
Yes.
Somebody might do really well watching a video. One person hands-on learning, maybe even just lecturing too. So we kind of incorporate all of those ways of learning so that we're adapting to every child individually, and then just embed that into our lessons.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, as somebody that I have ADHD, and so I didn't know that until I was about 28, which makes a lot of my schooling time and my college time really make sense. It's not that I love to learn. I'm constantly learning, especially with the homestead and the development that we have. It's just, the thing is that being in an area where I'm conceptually or just not being able to work with the material is totally different than when we're trying to figure out how to, calculate perimeter in our math class, where it's like, we're going to go build a garden. Let's go measure the perimeter and figure out how to build this. And then we get to tie in the sciences all into that lesson by what are we going to plant? How are we going to, take care of the earth? So,
and that goes into so many different steps with the gardening too. So it's like from start to finish. So they have to build the raised bed, they have to mend the soil, do the compost, make the compost, sow the seed, grow, maintain, harvest, and then cook or make salves or DIY bug spray. We do full circle closed loop systems.
Wow.
There's something to be said about the farm and the animals that are on site, because I've actually experienced that in my first few years of grade school. I was at a school that had a farm on site, and I'm a testament that I feel you are spot on with developing empathy, adapting to a situation, patience, taking care of something, learning about it. That's not in front of a desk, or at a desk. I agree with that type of learning, that style of learning. They had the classrooms, the traditional classrooms and the desk, but they also had parts of the day that we would go to the farm and visit the sheep and visit the horses and the chickens. And there was something to be said about that. And I went through the first few years of grade school being exposed to that style of learning. And I will say, someone who's experienced it, it works. It really does, because I agree with you. As soon as you said develop empathy, I'm like, wow, you're right. You can't, it's hard to teach that in a classroom. You really can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really difficult. And like Freddie's saying here in the question, that sounds like that people can apply this in several areas of life. I mean, resilience is resilience, right? So whether you're waiting in line to get a coffee, or you're working on a project, or maybe you're making a dish and it's just not coming out the way you want, you're like, I got to keep trying this. That's the resilience that we're trying to teach these children to work through, that things are going to be difficult, and that's okay. We're going to keep trying.
Right.
Now, we might need to take a moment, right? Bringing that self-care back in, of just like, okay, let's step out, recognize when we need some time, but in the same foot, we don't just give up because something doesn't work out the way we want it to, right? This is how we learn. And so I always see, failure, which is not everybody's favorite word, but failure is the starting point to learning. And until we figure that out, what doesn't work, we can't figure out what does work.
Yeah.
Spot on. We talk about that all the time, right?
Fear
Randy?
of failure stops people from living, right?
Right. It's so true.
How many people do you employ?
So right now we have 10 teachers on.
Wow.
Very nice. I'm sure they enjoy doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
we have a wonderful group of we could not do this without them.
Right. It takes a village.
It does. Yeah. When you said that, it's spot on. And that's the thing. It's, when people kind of hear the mission, they come here and they see the children, and not only just see what we're doing, but they also see it in action, or these children that, maybe in a traditional school, they wouldn't thrive, or maybe they were struggling, or they had behavior challenges. And then they see these children come here and go through their journeys. We bring some very passionate people here. So we've just been very blessed, that we attract a lot of great people.
Yeah.
Roots also has ties within the community by partnering with Autism Delaware. And I'm sure that is significant in so many ways. Could you share a little bit more about that partnership?
Sure. So Roots is very community-based, obviously. And Autism Delaware is one of the organizations out of several others that we bring onto the community, or the homestead, and we do a job readiness program with them. So they come in and they practice executive functioning skills. They help care for the homestead, the animals, the gardens. They help prep for classes. They've done a lot of harvesting and tea blending and you name it. Anything that we do around here, we basically help mentor them, and they come in with another person to help. And they've been amazing, and they've been volunteering with us.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing too is it's like anything else, right? Not one platform works for everyone. And so when we're working with the folks with Autism Delaware, you know, some of the jobs, I guess, working in restaurants. I mean, down here in Sussex County, there's a lot of restaurants and other service jobs that really don't always fit, or some people just, you know, again, their personalities thrive a lot more outside in animals and nature. And so it's really cool to be able to give them the opportunity to, you know, again, be outside and connect with nature, and it just totally changes the mindsets. But we're happy to really work with them because it's really gratifying.
There's something to be said about going outside and getting a breath of fresh air, right? We always say that, you know what, when you're stressed out at work or home, go outside, take a walk. There's something to be said about that. You're offering this innovative way of learning, but outside and with nature. That right there is healing, in my opinion.
It's like real life, you know, like going to school, you learn stuff that, you know, history, like,
which is important.
It's important, right? But it's like, important. You know, what's the use of learning a date? Like, you know, I would rather learn to cook at an early age, or take care of the soil, or, you know, thrive, right?
Life skills.
Absolutely. Well, and we get to teach the history through a lot of the stuff as well. I mean, we've planted it in our food forest that we have here. It's still young, so we're getting there, but we planted pawpaws, which is a indigenous fruit here to Delaware and the East Coast that have been eaten by the Native Americans and other indigenous populations for a very long time. So we get to teach a lot of their story and their history through that. So the history comes basically through that. And then again, we get back into the sciences very quickly, because the pawpaw is a specific food source for the zebra swallowtail butterflies. And so again, we're not only talking about how to feed ourselves, but we're also working on feeding, you know, nature as well. And so really begins to build that community, even if it does seem small in their world, the impact is still huge.
Wow.
And that's exactly what you just said, Randy, the fact of they're experiencing this. So they're like immersed. This is very experiential based. So anything we bring here is not just like learning on a tablet or a screen. We don't do that. Like, we just don't. Every once in a while I might throw up like a 1-minute time lapse video of a duck hatching or something like that. But it's always, they're going to experience it. It's going to be something they can touch, and they're going to be able to see the whole closed loop system.
Yeah.
Do you work with bees at all? Like
we just got a couple honeybees early, actually, in the fall. So I am new to beekeeping, which has been an experience, and so this is one of the things that we like to be lifelong learners, and we try to teach the children as well. And so we're diving into beekeeping. I've been stung once or twice, but you know, it's part of the process. But yeah, they're so fascinating to learn about.
Yeah, like bees are so important to the environment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, I've heard that, and I've read that it's important to find your local farms in your area that have local beekeeping farms, right? And that produce honey for purchase, because I've been told that if you are consuming the honey that's from the local farms, from the bees nearby, it's good for your immune system. Yeah. And combating pollen during those bad times of the year, especially if you're sensitive. This is what I read about, and this is what I heard about. So I think it's great that you are incorporating that as a part of Roots and learning more about it, because I think it will be a popular, I guess you would say, element, or not element, but program that you'll offer at the school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do people go if they want to support your cause?
Yep, so they can visit roots302.com, and we're getting ready to do a whole new website. So it's a little bit messy right now because we blew up and grew up so fast. So it's a little messy.
Yeah,
but there is a header that specifically says for donations.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think people want to get behind something like this.
I agree.
Like, really beneficial to the community and to people. Like I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's so many folks in the family, and this is what really drives a lot of what we decide to do. Is just the families yearning for either different ways for their children to get out and experience the world, learn, but even from like a mental health standpoint, again, children that have ADHD or autism or OCD, again, not only again is nature more healing in that respect, but there's a lot of different things again that we get to work with that is almost therapeutic to some degree. And so we've even partnered with organizations in the area like Child Inspired or Trauma Specialists of Delaware, tried it again to link that self-care mental health aspect for what we do. So
yeah, we go in the community and partner with these organizations, even have them be able to utilize our space for their services as well, because there's just not enough of this around here at all.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Totally agree. What is your Instagram and website? Because I want to make sure, since we were talking about the donations, I want to make sure we get that, we say it and we get that on the screen. So share with your Instagram handle.
Yep. So that is roots.302. And then the website is roots302.com.
Very important if you're interested in donating. Yeah. Also, if there's any other need, are you ever looking for volunteers?
We always need volunteers.
Yeah,
we always do. And the more that we expand and go to different satellite offices, we're also currently searching for any other farm or homestead or forest type of area in other counties to take Roots Farm and Forest School to the other counties as well.
Yeah, and the vision at some point too in the next few years is to be able to really take this platform and use it as almost like a research school, so we can kind of really see the transition for children as they go through the years, what their skill development looks like, how do their behavior shift, how does it impact their family, community change. And so we want to start kind of putting together some more research, because there's a ton of research around the world for nature schools or forest schools. It seems to be relatively young in the States, and so we want to kind of help push that forward a little bit, so that the families that are looking for this as an option, hopefully be able to get it sooner than later.
Yes,
and we are working with like VILA. It's an organization that basically helps the community getting any type of non-traditional schooling out into their communities. And so we're working with them and partner with them, Forest School Teacher Institute and ANBE. So it's the Association of Nature-Based Educators. So we're just trying to get these bigger organizations to be able to come here to Delaware.
Yes, that's exciting. And hopefully that all works out, which it will, right? We're manifesting good things. It's going to happen, and we're going to be getting updates with the expansion and the growth. Now, just to go back a little bit, because I wanted to make sure we highlighted what Roots offers as far as like detailed programs. I know there was a question about, do you offer painting classes? Do you do improv? So could you just highlight a little bit more about what the programs are at Roots?
Yeah, so we do a variation of programs. We do summer camps every single summer, which is super fun. We are more than halfway full already.
And we're expanding that to Townsend this summer.
Yeah.
So we will have our first satellite office in Townsend, Delaware for, I think it's like the end of July for that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, but we do after school workshops for the public school students who are looking for that enrichment. We do homeschool enrichment programs every single week. We do toddler exploration classes. We call that our Nature Pals class. And then we do weekly yoga sessions. And out in the community, where we work with a lot of different in the schools, the libraries, and other organizations that really kind of, again, bring that programming out to the community as well.
And we go in senior centers as well for multi-generation learning.
That's awesome. Wow. I could see you partnering with all the public libraries in the state of Delaware and offering even just almost like a mini version of what you guys really offer, just to kind of give it a taste. I guess you would call it like a micro version of what you're offering at the school, the flagship, right? The flagship in Sussex County, but I just can see this really taking off, especially summer. I can see this this being more of a resources for families to take advantage of. For, like you said, summer camp is already filled. That's such a good problem. Such a good problem, guys. You're doing something right, and clearly there's a need for it.
Yeah, it changes life. So, 40 years ago, I attended an Outward Bound for a week, and I went to Maine, and we hiked the Appalachian Trail. And the things I learned about nature during that time, it's like changing my life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's something that we take for granted sometimes, and I think I blame this. See this sky right here? This times, because I'm now that through this whole conversation, Talon and Travis, I started reminiscing about my childhood and when I was learning in the first few years of grade school on the, when we go out to the farm, I was reminiscing, and I'm thinking about all the times that I was learning outside. And there's a facility that's close to my home. I believe it's called Ashland Nature Center. I don't know if you've heard of it before. And I remember taking field trips there and learning outside. And I just don't see this generation, or at least the last few generations, learning about these resources or taking advantage of these opportunities to be outside anymore. I don't think the schools are scheduling field trips anymore to Ashland Nature Center. I don't think that's happening. And I think that's the problem. So what you're doing is needed. So thank you for doing what you're doing. And anybody listening, you need to go to the website, you need to support, and you need to donate, because these are our future leaders, and Talon and Travis are doing that. And that's really important, guys. Really, thank you for what you're doing. I mean, it's needed.
Yeah, and look at the television programming, like the television shows that kids watch today. It's like violence, or like it's craziness.
Well, you have to screen everything, and you have to be careful because of our devices. They have, all these young kids have access to all these different platforms and apps, or a YouTube, and you just have to be very careful.
When I was growing up, the Three Stooges were the most notorious. Parents would say, "Oh,
that's all right. That's enough right there." Oh, look at that! I like that. Back to the roots. I like that. Right. Very, very true. Well, Talon and Travis, was there anything else that you wanted to mention that we did not touch on that you feel is necessary to talk about right now?
No. I don't think so.
That's okay, because we definitely touched on everything, and I wanted to make sure we highlighted the website so people can go and support, donate, but also volunteer. And I'm sure actually, I do have a question for you, because this may help for volunteers. Is there an age requirement to volunteer at the school?
There's not.
Okay. See, if I was a teenager in high school, I'd be like, sign me up. I would volunteer for like a summer volunteer internship. I mean, it looks great on your resume. I just think this is a great resource, and I really hope that you guys open up more locations throughout the state, especially up north.
Yeah, thank you. Hope to be up there soon.
Well, as we are nearing the end of this interview, Randy and I like to ask a traditional question to all of our guests. So here is the last and final traditional question. If you could chat with anyone, past or present, on a podcast, who would it be and why?
I'll take this. No, the first person that comes to mind, I've been studying a lot of self-development and philosophy. And so Marcus Aurelius comes to mind. He was the emperor of Rome a couple thousand years ago. But it's interesting because if he has a journal, like a personal diary that was never really supposed to be published, and somehow somebody got hold of it and they've since translated it. But to hear the emperor of one of the strongest, places at the time, and some of the things that he talks about is struggles of, remaining calm and, listening to people and giving them an opportunity, or even if it's, he mentions in one of his entries that it's a cold morning and he doesn't want to get out of bed and get started. Like, it just really takes a lot of the things that I internalize as struggles or difficulties and makes me think, man, these are not unique problems. These are things that we've been working with for thousands of years. And so to hear, the struggles of somebody that, that had power, it's like, how how do you get to the point where, you just find the discipline and the courage to really kind of not only work through some of these things, but continuously improve yourself. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one, but it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true, putting it into perspective, the struggles, the everyday struggles we may take for granted, but I that's a good one.
I post quotes every morning on Instagram, and I post a lot of quotes from Marcus.
There you
yeah,
go.
good ones.
Yeah, he's really good.
Oh, wow. Well, Talon, Travis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We really, really appreciate you taking the time.
Inspiring.
To come on our Pronto podcast, share your story, sharing what you're doing for the community. And we both wish you lots of luck as you continue to grow this incredible school.
Maybe someday we can visit.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Absolutely.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Well, thank you guys, and we will see you soon.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh,
wow. Man.
Wow.
I have chills.
I think that is so necessary. I really do. It's different learning, but just so many parts of how you learn is super important for the younger generation. And being outside in nature and being able to interact interact with your friends and your classmates without a device distracting you. There's nothing wrong with technology. I love technology. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for our computers and the software and
it has its place.
Yes, it has a place.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said. And if you call it old school, going back to the roots, which I love that little tagline. There's something to be said about, going outside without any technology and just listening to nature and being, breathing in fresh air. It's so healing. Yeah.
Some of my best memories as a kid and even as an adult were outside. And, it includes beach trips.
That's
and,
right. That's
outside. And breathing
hiking.
fresh air and learning how to breathe properly. Like some people don't really breathe properly.
They forget to breathe because they're so stressed.
Yeah.
Well, another great show, Randy. It's, I truly love doing what we're doing here, and especially with you. That's right, especially with you, because we have the honor, thank you, and privilege of meeting some wonderful people. Really, it's truly an honor, and we feel lucky, right? We are the lucky ones here because we get to meet some really inspiring, influential individuals who are just doing some amazing things in the community and learning too. And that's what it's all about.
And that takes a lot of courage to do what they did.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Who opened the school?
Right. It takes a lot of courage. Listen, starting a business takes a lot of courage, right?
Yeah.
Just taking the time to learn a skill set and then starting a business. It's scary. So it's something that, we always say, follow your dreams, right? Follow your dreams. Don't be afraid.
In business, you have a lot of examples of, the business that you want, but they didn't have much example. Right.
No, it's they're doing something different, and I appreciate what they're doing. So I want updates. That's for sure. Yeah. All right. So there you have it. Another great show. As a reminder, because I'm going to go through all my reminders, visit MissDEUSA.com. 2025 pageant is set for June 29th. We are still accepting applications. Please share it with your friends and family. Share it with everybody in the community. There you have it. Yep, Sunday, June 29th, but we are still accepting applications. Visit MissDEUSA.com. Also, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor of our Pronto podcast, we are always looking for sponsors to sponsor segments. Also, be a guest. Right? We're always looking for some great guests. So definitely visit prontopodcast.com. If you want to tune in and watch all of the other 42 episodes of our Pronto podcast, you can visit, you actually can visit all of the podcast platforms. You can listen to our podcast at all. We're offered at all of them, right? Yeah, all podcast platforms. But if you go to the website, there you go. Yep, there it is listed at the bottom. But if you go to our website, it's also listed there. And then follow us on social media.
Yeah, you can watch the podcast on the website. Like,
That's right. You can listen or you can watch on the website. That's right. We give you both listen and watching. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Pronto, Randy.
Pronto, Vincenza.